Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. Our guest today is one that's fairly well known around here, and she's now talking about retiring, whatever that means. And that is Diane Bryant, who's been Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Commerce for 12 years.
12 years.
12 years. So, but she thinks she's going to hang it up. So we need to find out a little bit more about what's been going on and what's going to be going on. And as I say, I don't think you're old enough to retire. So why are you hanging it up?
Well, that's all relative. I was like, this is actually, if I remember correctly, this is my second retirement. So after the fitness business, I really wasn't making big plans, but this job did become available, and that's kind of how it all started back in 2005. So, but anyway, it is time to retire, and everybody says that you know it. You know when it's time, and I do know that. And
you just got that feeling, huh?
I do.
And you're talking about outdoor activities and travel and time at the lake with your husband. Is he retired?
No, he's not retiring. And he is, obviously been in real estate all these years over in the Manchester areas where his office is. So his schedule has always had a lot of flexibility to it anyway. So, I think he's planning on continuing to work his normal schedule. And we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long that lasts.
Maybe you're going to be spending time at the lake without him.
I was going to say, I think he has his own idea of what's going to happen. But anyway, we'll see how that works too.
Okay, very good. Well, we want to talk some more about what Diane has been up to and maybe where we're headed in Tullahoma as a business. So meanwhile, let's take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once and delivered to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
We're back, folks, and we're talking with Diane Bryant, who's been Executive Director of the Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce for the last 12 years, I think. And she's now threatening to hang it up at the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. So, well, all right, you've been here 12 years, and I remember hearing something, the fact that you didn't really plan to stay that long to start with. And
I really thought 5 years was a good effort, and the ability to kind of bring some of my, I was a member of the Chamber as Olympia Health and Racket Center for all those years.
Sure.
And even, volunteered and helped with several events and things over the years. Brian Lineroad and I did quite a few things together, coordinated things with the Chamber. And so, having had that experience, having, my volunteer experience with working with our Rotary Club, with the Tullahoma Noon Rotary Club for all these years. I just thought it was a nice fit, and it seemed like a good thing to do for about 5 years. And obviously 5 turned into 12, and but it's been a good 12 years.
How do you care? You're looking back now. What do you tell folks about your 12 years? How do you characterize or summarize that? Or
it's interesting. I'm not a real big reflector. I guess I'm just always moving forward, and I'm always thinking ahead, and I'm not a real big reflector. One of the things I've tried to do with this job is sit down every 3 months and kind of review in my mind where we've gone the previous 3, where we want to go from there. And one of the things, Tom, I'm very proud that we've done at the Chamber is we've made the executive board a much more stronger unit, if you will, and we stay consistently planning 5 years out so that each president that comes in kind of keeps everything that's already going, and then brings a little, some of their own emphasis in as well. So you're not constantly stopping and starting, and you are doing somewhat of a good flow going forward.
Continuing. Okay. All right, and I was hoping she could tell us something about what the search committee is doing, which was organized a couple months ago.
Yes, and Bill Yoder is leading that charge.
Bill Yoder, who is the current president of the Chamber, is leading that charge. And that's all we have to say about that. Thank you. Tune in later, folks. Well, review for the folks what your primary job has been. What are the main duties that you've had?
And that's a hard one. Even when we were putting the job description together, that's when it really makes you reflect on how much you do and how many different areas you cover. But I think the most important thing that I do and that this job does is works to develop relationships with people that you can partner with, that you can collaborate with, that you can work with. And then I think the ability to facilitate.
People outside the Chamber?
People inside the Chamber, outside the Chamber, at the state level, at the national level. I mean, all of those come into play. The national level, not so much. We've done a lot of work with the Arnold Community Council, and I think we've made a lot of inroads. And a lot of them have been in the normal, Chamber and ACC style. It's not about being out there. It's about working behind the scenes. It's about being able to help people get the information they need to help influence decisions. And that's a lot of what we do. I mean, it is about facilitating. It is about connecting dots. It is about trying to help people maneuver along and help to grow our business community. And a lot of that is salesmanship. I mean, a lot of that is getting out there and promoting the community, promoting the business environment, but it's also promoting within. I mean, your own businesses have got to feel good about themselves. Your own businesses have got to understand and see, the direction that things are going. Things do not happen in just, that little vacuum, if you will.
Do you guys do any training, like
business development?
Yeah. Business development.
Business development. We've done seminars over the years that have gone from customer service to teaching you how to use social media, to public speaking. So many people, a lot of our young people that are in the area, giving them those extra tools to help them with public speaking is extremely important. Because public speaking is not necessarily always with a microphone. I mean, it's the ability to be able to speak out in a staff meeting. It's the ability to be able to speak out in a board meeting. I mean, those things are important for people to have confidence and feel like they know what they're doing and they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, your membership or your monthly membership lunch has always
it's
been
a coffee, but it is a lunch. You're right.
Yeah, it's been a pretty big deal down through the years.
It is one of those things that I'm very proud of. It's given our members the ability to showcase their businesses. It's given us the ability to get a huge networking group together. We've grown that to where we are averaging about 120 people attending every coffee. So, I mean, I'm very, very proud of that. And we have a waiting list to 2018 right now to be able to sign up for a coffee. So, I know. I mean, that's how smooth.
To attend or to sponsor?
To sponsor. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody has to pay for the lunch.
They do.
Yeah, well, that has been a big deal, and it occurs fairly regularly every month, predictably. So, okay, how about economic development? How do you describe the chamber in that arena these days?
You know, the chamber, as far as economic development goes, we're all involved in economic development, because economic development is about, helping your businesses be successful, and it's also about recruiting additional businesses. It's also about helping the workforce and trying to figure out how education plays into it. And I think that's where our CEO program, has really been a powerful engine as well.
Yeah, talk a little about that.
That CEO program, when I first took this job, I think we had 20 partners, and that's where you had businesses that partnered with the Tullahoma City School System was basically the original partner. So you had people that partnered with each of the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high school. Well, over the years, we've grown that to having 67 partners now, and we also include pre-K. We also include work-based learning. We also include...
what are you doing?
Each individual business and each individual school are doing different things all the time. A lot of your banks are involved with that program. They come in and have a bank day. So they teach the kids, what it's about as far as making a deposit, saving money, how a bank operates. We're doing the mock interviews at the high school. We do those twice a year, and that has grown from maybe 30 students to possibly 125 students.
Teaching them how to conduct an interview?
No, the teaching part goes on in the classroom. We as business people come in and we actually conduct the interviews. Right. So it's role playing.
Yeah.
So we set
that's
up.
That's a teaching experience.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's
you have to evaluate the kids after.
Exactly, and you evaluate the kids after. And I've seen those kids come from where they just come in, sit across the table from you, and don't even really. I mean, they are so nervous that they don't have the confidence to even get through the interview, to now where they're coming in and they're bringing you a resume, they're dressed for the interview. I mean, it's been amazing the progress that is made with that over the years.
Well, that is important. Yeah. That job interview really makes or breaks you in terms of whatever you're looking for. Okay, so your economic development is sort of indirect, really.
It is indirect, and I think something that was extremely important to me when I first started this job was basically how there was such a void in our community and how somebody needed to fill that. And so we as the chamber, we did a lot, but we are not in the position to speak for the city. We're not in the position to speak for we're not in the position to speak for the city. We're here to recommend, but we're not here to speak. And that is when I lobbied at Mayor Bisbee at the time to really show that the city had a focus with economic development, that we started the steering committee that basically it was myself and Jeff Fishman and Lynn Seaborn, and we had two other people in the beginning that were then replaced with someone else. But we spent 2 years studying and recommending what we thought needed to happen, which ended up becoming the TAEDC, the Tullahoma Area Economic Development Corporation. We were the ones that wrote the charter. We were the ones that basically got that group started. We were also the ones that once the board was formed, eventually lobbied the city for an executive director for that position as well. So we as the chamber have worked hand in hand with TAEDC very closely, and you know this, very closely in the beginning from the retail side, because we had been doing a lot of that recruitment to be able then to partner and do it together, and then to be able to eventually turn it over to TAEDC. We felt very early on that the TIF concept was something that we needed in our toolbox in order to recruit people, and that's the tax incremental financing.
Right.
And you needed an entity that was structured like TAADC is in order to be able to do that kind of financing and those kind of
and we've done
scenarios.
the first one or two of those in the last year or two. We need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Trucks, and more trucks. Keith Barnett here with the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have your next truck. From the Ford F-Series, the Ram, Chevrolet, or the GMC, then look no further than the Russell Barnett family. With over 350 new and pre-owned trucks to choose from, now is the time to buy. Stop by one of our 5 locations. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Chevrolet GMC, Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. Why buy anywhere else?
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
It's your trademark. That's something special everyone knows and remembers. It's your thing. It's made holidays special for decades and summers unforgettable for the entire neighborhood. It's made everyone laugh every single time. Don't let illness or injury keep you from doing your thing. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Diane Bryant, who has been executive director of the Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce for the last 12 years. And has now promised to hang it up about the end of the month. So we're talking to her about her 12 years here and where we might be headed as well. When we broke, we were talking about economic development, and I was particularly interested in the, I can say industrial, and make sure that we're not talking about manufacturing. That's the primary thrust of the County Industrial Development Board, and we have agreed to and promised not to compete with them in that score. So what we're talking about are the softer industries, those that might be involved in health, aviation, computerization, using our gigabytes. See, now we've got Gigabyte up on the water tank coming into town.
That's
I just
right.
noticed the other day. So, all right, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
And I would prefer to call them businesses, and I think that way you don't confuse the two between the manufacturing industry and businesses itself, because all of those things.
So when you say industry, you're afraid people will be thinking about manufacturing.
Exactly, because that is not our area. That is the area of the Coffee County Industrial Board. And it is their responsibility. But that doesn't mean that we don't help out when called for. That doesn't mean that we don't, we don't refer people to them. I mean, we do all of those things. So, but I think as far as really looking after our local businesses, I think that's one of the things that we as a chamber take great pride in, the fact that
local industry,
local businesses. Because I'm calling,
that's everything.
It is everything. It is everything. So, I mean, if you're looking at, UpTech, if you will, as an example, that is a business in my mind. But they are a telecommunications industry, service industry. I mean, they do everything across the board. If you look at what would be another good example of a smaller, even when you look at a situation like a Schmied or a Microcraft, they might not be members of the chamber, but there's times that you need to plug them in with other members of the chamber in order to be able to make some connections that will work for both entities. So we do a lot of those. Once again, it's about relationships. Once again, it's about connecting the dots and helping people to collaborate. George Dickel and Jack Daniels are a very important industry in our community, and both of them can kind of get kind of nestled down in their own little hollow, if you will. But there needs to be that ability to reach out and to work together on things, and that's something that we do, and we do regularly.
Yeah, Jack Daniels is going out in every direction these days, it looks like, okay, and you talked a little earlier about workforce development. Talk a little bit more about that, and we're primarily looking these days at workforce development, I think, as the tech side of the business,
exactly.
if you would.
Exactly. And we have worked, closely over the years to promote and support and encourage the mechatronics program out at Motlow. There's a strong push now in the robotics area out there. We've also got
out there now being, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's all going to McMinnville.
Well,
the mechatronics started there. The robotics has gone there.
The mechatronics started there because their local manufacturing industry stepped up with some significant dollars in order to house that program there.
Right.
And the same did not happen here. It did happen up there. We have a strong working relationship with Ivan Jones and what is now the TCATS, or the Tennessee College of Advanced Technology. We have a very strong relationship with them, and they, even though they are technically housed in Shelbyville, they show up to help with anything that's needed in this area. We're trying to coordinate. I think that Mayor Cordell has been a very strong force to try to keep all of that type of emphasis going, and to work together from both the Tullahoma side and the Manchester side. So I think there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I think a lot of things. I think you're going to see UTSI have somewhat of a role, because advanced manufacturing is the way of the future, and we've got to have a workforce that's ready to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And we haven't done anything about a mechatronics in the local area. They have put one there. You've got McMinnville is really the head there, but now they've got one in Fayetteville. Don't know about Shelbyville.
I don't think
so. We're the area that Motlow occupies up north, close
Smyrna.
to the Nissan, Smyrna.
And Nissan's been very instrumental in funding a lot of that.
Yeah. And so we haven't had anybody step up. Maybe we don't have the need. Do we not have the need for developing technology related skills I'm talking about here?
And maybe need is what has sparked the movement in McMinnville and in Smyrna, for sure, and good chance in Fayetteville. But that still doesn't mean that it wouldn't be good to develop the workforce that lives here, to help recruit people to come in, and also to provide more workforce for all these other areas. So, I mean,
Okay.
I can't say, if you define need by the specific, industry that's here, then we probably don't have the need. But if you define it as what you could be attracting, I would say we probably do have the need.
Oh, well, yes. Okay, well, we got some other things along that line that we could be talking about, but I think, folks, we're going to have to take a short commercial break, and guess what? We've run out of time. We're going to have to wrap up when we come back. So.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today, folks, with Diane Bryant, who has been Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce for the last 12 years and has now promised to retire at the end of the month. And so it's a big loss. She's been very much of a presence here. So you got anything you'd like to say directly to the folks out there,
I can
Diane?
do that. I can do that. First of all, you know, one of the interesting things about this job is the fact that you have a different president every year. And, you know, there's a lot of people that think that comes with a lot of challenges because all of these people work with different styles and bring different things to the table. But the beautiful thing about it is exactly that. They come with different styles and they come with new ideas and ways of doing things. So I want to thank every one of those presidents who have worked with me over the last 12 years. And it's been a pleasure. I've learned a lot from them, and I think they've learned a lot from me, and it's been a very good relationship, and I think that's what's helped the Chamber be the strong entity that it is. I also have to thank the staff. I've been blessed with a great staff for these 12 years, and you know, that's really, you need a crew that can dot those I's and cross those T's. One of the challenges and probably one of the downsides of this job is the fact that you're so busy with so many events that you can't really celebrate the success of one because you're already planning and in the middle of, you know, doing the next ones. And so we don't have a lot of time for celebration, but I appreciate all the staffs that have worked for the Chamber throughout my tenure. I can't thank all the businesses enough. The people that step up and show up for things, the people that open up their checkbooks, the people...
I'm going to have to close you off.
Okay, all right,
okay.
all right. Thank you to everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for taking time to share your insights with us. And, of course, you go away with our very best wishes for a successful retirement. With that, folks, thank you for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.